Hey guys, it's me again. Today I just have a sort of brief rant, and I want to talk about, I guess, predestination a little bit. And I'm not going to get too technical because I'm not a technical kind of guy, but it's a topic that I've talked about in at least another video, maybe two. But you know, I'm not really that articulate, and I sort of stammer all the time. So I'm gonna give it another shot. First off, about the gospel, I believe that I made the choice to believe the gospel, to put my faith in Jesus and His completed work on the cross. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that it was I who made that choice, and upon putting my faith in Jesus Christ on my own volition, that I was born again and I got saved. But here's the thing, guys. This has always been my point. We cannot change anything that God already knew beforehand would come to pass. So basically what I'm saying is I had zero chance, absolutely zero chance of not ever getting saved or born again. Because God knew from the very beginning that I would do that. And there was no way I could change that, even if I wanted to. But of course, I didn't want to. And here I am. I belong to Jesus. I made that choice. It was my own apparent free will. Here's the thing, guys. As I've pointed out before, God is the potter. We are the clay. Jesus is the author and finisher of our faith. That's about as clear as it can get. God knew from before the foundations of the world that I was going to be saved, that I belonged to Him. And more than that, He designed me, He molded me, He created me, precisely for that, to be saved, to believe in Him. Now, whether or not that's Him programming my brain and I'm just this way advanced AI, I don't really care. I'm just thankful that He chose me, molded me to belong to Him, to ultimately accept His free gift of eternal life through faith in His Son. Now, the uncomfortable flip side of that is, what about those people who reject the gospel? Were they predestined for hell? See, people get uncomfortable with that because they feel obligated to defend God's integrity, as though if God truly did make some people to end up in hell, then God wouldn't be a good God or a worthy God, or that if for some reason we didn't have quote unquote free will, then our love for the Lord will not be genuine. And people talk about their own love for the Lord as though it was like gold or pearls or diamonds, or was worth more than anything in the world. As I've stated in previous videos, our love for the Lord is garbage. It's tainted. It's impure. It's filled with ulterior motives. That's just the way we are. We're flawed human beings. We live in these corruptible bodies. We still have a sin nature, and until the rapture, we're always going to be imperfect, and our love's always going to be impure. And the love that we're fighting for to be so priceless, thanks to our free will, it's really not that much. Stop making it out to be more than what it is. You're not really defending God's integrity, as I've been saying all this time. You're only defending your own sovereignty. You want to think that you have power over God, even to the point of rejecting Him, so you can say, hey, I'm more powerful than you, Lord. I can reject your forgiveness if I wanted to. I can go to hell if I wanted to, and there's nothing you can do about it because I'm more powerful. And since that I chose you, no, God, you did not choose me, even though that's what Jesus kept saying over and over again. Even though I chose you, God, now you should be grateful to me because I chose you, Jesus. No, that's not how it works, guys. Now, as I've also pointed out in previous videos, does it make that big of a difference if God made somebody specifically to be thrown into the lake of fire, or if God simply made a person with quote-unquote free will who will ultimately choose to reject the gospel? Really, what's the difference? What if God knew that this person he's about to bring to life will ultimately reject the gospel and end up in hell, then God creates that person anyway. Isn't that really not much different if God were to, make that person specifically to be thrown into hell? And what's the difference? As I've also pointed out in another video, like if you see a small child crossing the street and there's a truck speeding down the road who's about to hit this child, and you don't do anything to try to get that kid out of harm's way, what's the difference between that and you picking up that kid and just throwing him in front of the truck yourself? There's really not much of a difference. My point is that what we know, the Bible teaches clearly, is that God, is the potter and we are the clay. And how can the thing formed say to him who formed him, why have you made me this way? That's what the Bible teaches. And no, I'm not a Calvinist. I'm not, to this day, I really don't know what defines a Calvinist. I believe that we are saved by grace alone, through faith alone, and that we are sealed by the Holy Spirit till the day of redemption, and then we cannot lose our salvation. It is not up to us at all. Once we're saved, we're always saved. Once saved, always saved. I fully believe that with all my heart, and I believe that that is totally biblical. But there's no but, okay? People get hung up on when you say but. You have to take but into context. Just because you say but after something like that, it doesn't negate everything you said beforehand, okay? Here's the thing though. As I stated at the beginning of this video, the choice I made felt entirely of my own volition. It felt like I had free will. Never in my life have I ever been in a situation where I truly wanted to do this, but there's this inexplicable force overpowering me to think something else or do something else or say something else. Everything I say, everything I do, it feels like it originated from me. Now, the other reality though, and it's real, it's true, is that everything I'm saying, everything I'm thinking, everything I'm doing, everything I'm about to do, God already knew from even before the foundations of the world I would end up thinking, saying, and doing. And fact of the matter is, there's absolutely nothing I could have done to change that. Every time I say every time I say because I always say that because I'm not really a great speaker, God knew exactly I would say those words at the precise moment in time that I said them. And there's nothing I could have done to change that. And another thing I want to point out is when God made people, with quote-unquote free will, did he just make these random ingredients and he sort of just put them all together and rolled the dice to see what would turn up? See, the thing is, free will, absolute free will, is only possible if the Lord did not know the future. Otherwise, if he knew the future, like I said, it doesn't make a difference if he programmed us to think what we think and do what we do, or if he knew beforehand all the errors we would make, all the follies in our life, our ultimate rejection of the gospel and being thrown into hell. If he foreknew all that and still allowed us to come into being, then that's really not much different, is it? So here's my point, guys. God is sovereign. We are not. We are still instructed to preach the gospel. It is not for us to determine who is or isn't going to be saved. We just preach the gospel to every person that we're able to, whenever the opportunity presents itself. We don't stop preaching the gospel. It's not for us to decide who God foreknew and chose from the foundations of the world. That's none of our business. And like I said, on our side of eternity, the choice is ours. The choice feels real. The will feels free. Whether or not it's really free will, it doesn't matter. If you belong to Jesus and you've put your faith in him, just be thankful that the Lord chose you to choose him. Just be thankful that your name has been written in the Lamb's book of life, even from before the foundations of the world. See, on our side of eternity, we live in this linear life, and there was a point in our lives where we can say that I got born again. There's when I knew the Lord and my name got written in the Lamb's book of life. But the reality is, in God's side of eternity, we've always belonged to him. There was never a chance of us not choosing Jesus or our names not getting written in the Lamb's book of life. He's always known, and there was nothing we could do about it, and I am thankful. I'm thankful. So what about people on the other side that will end up going to hell? Well, frankly, it's not our problem. And trust me, God will not answer to anyone on Judgment Day. And you're not going to be able to accuse God of any wrongdoing. He's going to be blameless. And stop trying to spin it and pretend that you're trying to defend his integrity, when in reality you're only trying to defend your own sovereignty. That is the truth. So stop fighting for this idea of free will. We have an apparent free will that's good enough. Don't get hung up on that. Even though technically I'm getting hung up on the other side of that, trying to tell you that there's really... Well, I'm not telling you that there's no such thing. I'm telling you whether or not it's whatever you define as free will. It doesn't matter. Stop trying to defend God. Or because you're really just trying to defend your own sovereignty. You want to feel that you have power over God, that he owes you. No, the Lord does not owe you for choosing him, because he chose you to choose him. Yes, so that's my rant for today, and high watch date next few weeks, and hopefully we're out of here. Keep watching for the rapture. Keep looking up. Keep listening for that trumpet, and all you guys who are gifted with